If you've ever had a friend or family member trying to lose weight but are struggling on their diet, you may have heard these following statements. You know what? No more junk food. I'm only having one day in my week where I can eat whatever I want, only 20% of my diet, and the rest has to be whole food. I am not eating any more of that processed stuff because it's only making me gain weight and I'm not losing any more body fat. So you know what? I'm just doing 80% whole foods and then 20% whatever I want, only once a week. You know what? I'm just not losing weight fast enough. I'm tired of having such a plateau and I'm losing weight so slowly. So you know what? I'm only doing 10% of my week where I can have whatever I want, and then 90% I have to stick with whole foods. If you have heard both of these statements, you might not understand what 80-20 or 90-10 mean. Good thing in this video, I'm going to clear up all of that confusion so that you can implement either 80-20 or 90-10 into your everyday life so that you can focus on better nutrition and overall health on your weight loss journey. So without further ado, let's get started with the video. Now, first up, we're going to be talking about 80-20. 80-20 is usually that sweet spot between having a balanced diet and being too restrictive. Not overindulging too much, but you're also not too restricted. Whether you're overeating or undereating, both lead to binge eating at the end of the day, and it can be quite hard to break that cycle unless you have some sort of balance that keeps you consistent and enjoying life. When it comes to 80-20, 80% of your diet is made up of whole foods and 20% is basically whatever you want. So if you want to practice 80-20, what this would look like is 5 days a week, you have 3 whole food meals of healthy fats, proteins, fibers, complex carbohydrates, and then some light snacks in between to keep you fuller for less calories while sticking in your deficit. And then on the weekend, Saturday, for example, your 20% can come from pretty much like whatever you want, like fast food. It could be, going to the movie theater, or it can be, some type of event. You can eat pretty much whatever you want in that 20% and moderating it so that it doesn't go over your calorie amount, and that way you could still keep losing weight and not falling off. The 80% is designed to help you improve your health and improve your weight loss journey so that we're not getting in too much junk food, and so therefore leading us to get off track of our weight loss journey. Another bonus to doing the 80-20 method is that once you lose weight and you get down to a healthy weight that is ideal for you, you can then further use that method to help you maintain that weight. The 80-20 method does not have to just be used for weight loss. It can be used to help maintain the lifestyle that you've built up to that point. So if you still want to practice 80-20 off of your weight loss journey, you can still do that. But while 80-20 is a great way to maintain a healthy lifestyle and help you lose weight, there's another method that we do have to talk about, and that is 90-10. 90-10 is basically a more stricter approach stemming off of 80-20. So instead of 20% of your diet being junk food, it's 10%. This helps to reduce the amount of calories that we're eating so that we can stick with a more stricter deficit if we want to lose more weight. Most people do not typically do 90-10 as it is more stricter. However, if you want to have a faster weight loss and you want to lose more weight in a smaller time frame, 90-10 could be a better approach. Basically, 90% of your diet is coming from whole foods and 10% is coming from whatever you want. And what I will say with 90-10 is that it can be really great for reducing the amount of junk food or ultra-processed food that is in our diet, and consuming more whole foods are going to make us healthier because studies show that when we decrease the amount of ultra-processed foods, junk foods by 10%, we're basically reducing the risks of developing certain conditions or health conditions, diseases that cause us to be unhealthy. And I will list these conditions and diseases on the screen, but basically when we increase this amount by 10%, the more we go up by 10%, the more we are increasing those risks and developing those diseases and health conditions that are going to affect us as we get older. So losing weight is only part of our health journey, but the second part is also making sure that we're eating and consuming the right foods that are going to set us up for success health-wise. Anything that is more natural is going to be better for our body than something that has undergone significant processing with machinery and in factories and in labs, because they tend to use more ingredients and those are causing more health conditions to our body. 90-10 is something that we want to be doing temporarily, but not something that we want to do long term, because weight loss is designed to be gradual instead of fast. So an example of using the 90-10 approach to your diet and your weight loss journey could look like, for example, you want to lose 10 pounds in a few weeks. The 90-10 approach would help with that because we're cutting our calories more drastically, and that's causing us to lose more fat. Even if you are trying to lose weight faster, there are some things that I am going to say when it comes to a more aggressive deficit. When we are on a more aggressive deficit, we want to make sure that we're consuming enough protein and getting in enough nutrients that are going to help us maintain our muscle and keep that metabolism up so that we are burning more calories at rest. You can still get in things like carbs and fats, but when it comes to cutting your calories more, proteins are going to be more beneficial along with fiber for keeping you full, and carbs and fats are going to be probably most useful when it comes to things like bulking, because when you're bulking and when you're building muscle, you can't really build a lot of muscle without carbs. If you were trying to bulk up, you wouldn't just use protein or consume protein, but you would also consume carbs and protein together, so that way you're further promoting protein synthesis. Fats play a role in bulking as well, for increasing our calories and making sure that we're satisfied, but they're also very important when we're cutting, because when we're not getting any fat into our diet or into our day, we are disrupting our hormones, and as women, we need to make sure that we're getting in enough grams of fat so that doesn't go downhill. So if you're in a bigger deficit, you need to make sure that you're getting in some fat in your day and not depriving it completely. Both methods, whether it's 80-20 or 90-10, can be both very effective for weight loss depending on what your goals are and how much weight you want to lose. As a general recommendation, most people should be doing 80-20, so that way we're able to sustain our weight loss and we're not feeling too restricted on our diet. Because most people that try to do an aggressive restriction only end up failing and hinge eating at the end of the day. So aggressive restriction only sets you up for failure, and when you stick to 80-20, it is more realistic for your body, it's more realistic for your goals, it's more realistic for all aspects of your weight loss journey. 90-10 should only be applied when you have a very specific goal to lose more weight within a smaller time frame. But besides that, 80-20 is what is going to be most effective for most people because it has a higher success rate and it's more realistic because you're not depriving yourself too much, and too much restriction only leads to failure. But whatever method you choose, always make sure that what you are choosing is the right one for you.